is that he's only saying these things because he's in front of a judge, like he did last time over the phone with the courthouse. And then just a few days later, he calls me and tells me otherwise, which is why I called to vacate the previous order. And on top of that, he does drugs.
And how long have you known he does drugs?
Since I've known him.
Okay, and you chose to have Mia with him, right?
Yes.
And so you knew before you made that decision that he did drugs.
Yes, but he's
But
mad.
what I will do,
Welcome back to Family Court Drama. In today's episode, we're diving into a heated child support hearing. The state is requesting that the father pay $528 in child support and $312 in cash medical support, along with a standard visitation schedule. However, the mother is pushing back on the visitation arrangement. She argues that due to the father's past abusive behaviour, she doesn't feel comfortable with unsupervised visits. She suggests a compromise, allowing the father to visit their child at a park where she can be present. The father, on the other hand, insists that he used to have his daughter every other weekend before the mother stopped allowing visitation. To ease her concerns, he offers to stay with his parents during his overnight stays with his daughter. Let's see how the judge decides on this case.
yes. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, you may both lower your hands. And Ms. Peoples, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I'll need to do service on the record for Mr. Granados.
You may.
Sir, can you state your full name?
Louis Daniel Granados.
Did you receive an email containing the petition that was filed in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand you have a right to be personally served with that petition?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in agreement to waive personal service and to accept through your email?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that because you were just served today, you have the right to request a reset for your answer period to pass?
I understand.
But are you in agreement to waive your reset and proceed with the order today?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Judge, and ask that the record as well as Odyssey reflect that Mr. Granados has agreed to waive service.
The record will so reflect.
Thank you, Judge. We're here on an order in suit affecting the parent-child relationship. I believe parties agreed to all issues except for the visitation and the retro. If I could read the proposed order and then take testimony.
You may.
Thank you, Judge. There's one child before the court, Mia Calix. The order states that parties will be appointed as joint managing conservators of the child, with the mother having the exclusive right to determine the residence in Dallas or any contiguous counties. Judge, the order does have an exchange of possession in a public place, which would be a public park as agreed to by the parties. There is a standard visitation schedule attached to the order. The order states that the mother is to apply for or maintain government medical with cash medical support at $312 a month, beginning June 1st, 2024. Child support, Judge, for the one child at 20% would be $528 a month, beginning June 1st, 2024. There's a retroactive child support judgment from October 5th, 2021 until today. And that's in the amount of $16,896, which is to be paid back at $135 a month, beginning June 1st, 2024. Court costs would be as billed to Mr. Granados. There is a non-disclosure request from the mother, and that's the extent of the order.
Okay. You may call your first witness.
I'll call the mother. Ma'am, can you state your full name?
My name is Brenda Calix Gomez.
And Ms. Gomez, has there been family violence in the past 2 years between you and Mr. Granados?
Yes.
And when was the most recent instance of family violence?
Late December of 2023, where he dragged Mia out of my car window and refused to give her back to me once he got her out. I then honked my car, yelled, caused a little scene, and then he came back, opened the door, and tossed her in the car. I moved her leg because if I wouldn't have, he would have caught her leg in the door.
Okay. And from that instance, did you call the police?
At that moment, I did not. I did, however, send him a message and let him know that I no longer would be allowing her to stay nights, as I would just rather wait for court, which
And
we
so
had,
since that,
which was March 1st.
and so since that time, she hasn't spent the night with him.
Correct, but she has gone over for visitations.
Before that instance, had y'all had other incidents of family violence?
Yes.
What was the most recent incident from that one?
Prior to that one, I cannot remember the time frame. It was within the 2 years. It was late on an evening, and he had put his hands around my neck and slammed a car door on my leg.
Okay, were the police called from that instance?
No.
Do you still have safety concerns concerning yourself and Mr. Granados?
Myself, yes.
Do you have concerns for your daughter being around Mr. Granados?
In the matter of him taking her, yes, because after March 1st of our court, a few days later, he had called me and I had him on speaker with my sister hearing the phone call, and he just blatantly informed me that once Mia was with him, he would not be informing me of her whereabouts or anything like that. And I'm not referring to like if they're having a birthday party. I'm referring to where she lays her head, as me and him have previously talked about and discussed, that she would be at his parents' house, which is the address provided on file, due to him living with another grown man, drugs.
So, Ms. Gomez, you don't want Mr. Granados to have any overnight visits with y'all's daughter.
Correct.
For how long are you requesting that he not have overnight visits?
I'm not so sure. I didn't know that was something I could decide, so I'm not so sure.
So what are you requesting that his visits look like if they're not overnight?
He can have public visitation. I even suggested that I would meet him at a park, where him and or his family can see her, as long as she doesn't leave with him, because of that previous phone call he made to me. The only reason that I couldn't choose, I guess, a supervisor, because I was asked in the break room who I preferred, and like if there was anyone in his family. Unfortunately, there is not, as his family has demonstrated that he hasn't done anything and he isn't violent. I have suggested that I could go and I be accompanied by someone myself, and just observe and just make sure that she doesn't leave with him or them.
Okay. And how old is your daughter?
She is 2.5. She will be 3 in October.
Okay. As far as health insurance, what kind of health insurance do you currently have for her?
She currently is on Medicaid. When I return back to work here in the fall, I will be putting her on my whatever provider medical insurance I get.
You're in agreement that Mr. Granados would be ordered to pay $312 a month for cash medical beginning June 1st, 2024?
Yes.
You also agreed to the child support of $528 a month beginning June 1st, 2024?
Yes.
And you're requesting retroactive child support?
Yes.
Did you and Mr. Granados ever live together?
No.
Has he provided any financial support for your daughter since she's been born?
No.
So you're requesting retro support from the time she was born until now. Is that right?
Correct.
That's in the amount of $16,896.
Yes.
And are you asking that Mr. Granados be ordered to pay that at $135 a month beginning June 1st, 2024?
Yes.
You're also requesting a non-disclosure of your address.
Correct.
Does he currently know where you live?
No.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, you may call your next witness.
I'll call the father. Sir, can you state your full name?
Louis Daniel Granados.
Mr. Granados, has there been family violence between you and the mother in the past 2 years?
No, ma'am.
As far as that incident that occurred in December of 2023, do you have anything you want to address the court about it?
That incident didn't happen the way that she's describing it. Me and her had a discussion about how long I could have her. She was on her way to pick her up, and last minute, my father decided to go out to eat, so I rushed to go get Mia, and I asked Brenda if I could have her for a couple of hours. So we were there just arguing for 30 minutes, but there was no physical contact. There was no violence.
There was no physical contact with your daughter, Mia?
No. Other than just putting her in the car, and that's it.
And outside of that instance, have there been other instances between you and Ms. Gomez of family violence?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time you saw Mia?
It's been a month now, I think. Easter? Since Easter, I think.
When was the last time she was able to spend the night at your house?
It's been like 6 months, I think. 6 to 7 months.
And who do you live with?
I'm living in my apartment.
You live by yourself?
I live with the roommate.
You're
With my
requesting that you have standard visitation, which would be overnights every first, third, and fifth weekend of the month.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you disagree with any type of supervised visits?
Yes, ma'am. I do disagree with that.
Okay. And so before the past 6 months, before then, Mia was spending the night at your house?
Yes, almost every night.
Are you in agreement that Ms. Gomez would apply for or maintain government medical and you would pay $312 a month in cash medical support?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree to pay current child support of $528 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You understand that mom is requesting retroactive child support from October 5th, 2021 until today. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that.
And so that's since Mia was born. Had y'all lived together since then?
No, ma'am.
Had you given her any financial support for Mia?
Yes, ma'am.
You have?
Yes.
How much support did you give mom for Mia?
I don't have the numbers exactly on me. But it was somewhere around 200 a month. And that would be going directly towards clothes, food, milk, diapers, her crib, because whenever she would live with me and be with me, I had to give her her own crib and toys and things like that.
And so you gave her $200 a month each month for the past 3.5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you're wanting that to be considered as far as your retroactive child support judgment?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand court costs for today's court proceeding will be billed to you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Granados, when you say you bought these things and it was at least in the amount of $200 a month, did those things go home with Mia when she went home, or did they just stay at your house?
The big things like the toys and the crib, they stayed at my house. But clothes, shoes, diapers, milk, bottles, and everything of and that nature, they were all rotated between her and I.
Okay, so you would buy them and you'd send them to her house, and then she'd send them back to your house when Mia was with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And when Mia spent the night with you, was her mother there or was it just Mia?
That would just be.
And how often did she spend the night with you?
It would be every other weekend.
Okay. And that was every other weekend until 6 months ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you had Mia, were there any problems? Did Mia get sick? Did she get hurt? Did you learn to take care of her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I think
My
that
family is a very strong knitted family,
okay.
and so they had a very strong hand in helping me too, and
Okay.
showed me what it was.
And so if Mia spent the night with you now, would she spend the night with you at your place or would y'all stay at your mom and dad's?
Well, the way that we had it before, and the way that I would like to continue doing it, is going to my parents and
Mhm.
spending the night there with me, so that Brenda can feel comfortable. Because I
Okay.
know it's somewhat weird to have another grown man here.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Mr. Granados. Miss Gomez. You're muted, ma'am. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sorry.
Now you heard what he said. Is that true?
No.
So she didn't go spend the night with him at his parents' house?
I apologize. That part, yes. Every other
And so
weekend.
every other weekend she spent the night with him and she came home and she was fine?
Yes.
Okay. So what's not true?
That he did not financially give me anything.
He didn't buy stuff for her?
Not anything he gave me for her. And I mean, at first I offered to provide diapers and stuff because he didn't have any. Little by little, his own parents purchased the stuff or he purchased the stuff and therefore their house had things. We never rotated bottles or clothes or anything like that. I gave them back everything that she would be wearing. And I'd get my clothes back. But he never ever financially assisted me in any type of way, not even with $200 a month. That is not true. I'm
So
sorry.
do you think what he bought added up to $200 a month?
Not on his behalf, but I'm not so sure. I can't say. I mean, to the last time she was there, which was Easter, she was wearing a outfit that I believe was less than 2 years of age, and it wasn't even something that covered her fully, but when I got a glimpse of him, he had a whole new fresh tattoo on his chest.
Okay. Ms. Peoples, did you recalculate
Yes, Judge. So I recalculated the retro based on Mr. Granado's testimony of $200 a month for the past 42 months, which would give him a credit of $8,400. And that would be a retro judgment of $8,496. And the payout would be $93 a month.
So for visitation, Ms. Gomez, I'm going to give him standard visitation. You named two things, but he has been seeing this child. He's been a part of this child's life. This child has been spending the night with him and his parents. He doesn't mind that if that's a condition that he has to be with her at his parents' house. And so I'm not going to take that away from her because
I
she's already had that relationship with him.
I
So I'm
understand.
not going to do no overnights. Now, after she turns 3, he will not be required to stay at his parents' house anymore. If that works for him, that's fine and that's good. And he can continue to do that, but I won't require it after she turns 3. You can tell me where you want the exchange to take place, I think it should take place at his parents' house, since that's where they're going to be staying, and you don't want him to know where you live. Is that okay with you? Or do you want to exchange her somewhere else? But a park where y'all agree will not do, because you may never agree and he may never get his child. I need a place to exchange her.
There is a, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there is a grocery store that's close to her parents' house and mine that we could meet at. If
What's
my
the
parents,
name of the grocery store, sir?
it's called El Rio Grande, I believe, right, Brenda?
Your Honor, he said these exact same things on March 1st, and then a few days later, he called me and told me himself that she will not be at the location of his parents' house, and that I will not get her whereabouts as to just where she lays her head at night. That is the only reason why. And he himself had told me that he no longer wanted me to even step foot to drop her off at his parents' house, even though I would only just go to pick her up and drop her off. I understand that Mia has built a relationship. She asked for them, and I know she loves them. But
Okay, so what is,
I'm sorry,
what's your concern?
is that he's only saying these things because he's in front of a judge, like he did last time over the phone with the courthouse. And then just a few days later, he calls me and tells me otherwise, which is why I called to vacate the previous order. And on top of that, he does drugs.
And how long have you known he does drugs?
Since I've known him.
Okay, and you chose to have Mia with him, right?
Yes.
And so you knew before you made that decision that he did drugs.
Yes, but he's
But
mad.
what I will do is I will put an injunction in the order that says he's not to do any drugs or alcohol 12 hours prior to getting her and the whole time he's with her.
But
Okay?
he has manhandled her.
Okay. Miss Gomez, I don't know how to tell you this except that when people get mad, they do strange things.
Not the
You
first.
yourself told me that he, prior to 6 months ago, had a perfectly fine relationship with his child.
He's mad every time he got upset with me, whether it was a minor disagreement, he'd manhandled Mia.
That's not what you said. She asked you, were there any other
That was the most recent one.
oh no, she asked you, were there any other incidents? You didn't say anything about him manhandling Mia. So we're past evidence now. I'm just trying to work out a order with you guys so that it'll be good for everybody, but mostly so it'll be good for Mia. And if his parents love Mia, they're not going to allow him to manhandle her. So he's going to have visitation every other weekend at his parents' house. I want to know where you want the exchange to take place.
Police station. I don't want to be near
We're
him.
not going to the police station because that makes it unnormal for Mia. Just give me a public place.
I'm
where-
fine. Grocery store El Rio, as long as I do not come in contact with him.
Well, she's 2. You can't just put her out and let
Oh,
her
no,
walk to him.
I'd rather exchange her with his mother than I do not want to come in
Or
contact.
you can have somebody on your side of the family take her. You don't have to go.
Do that as-
Okay. Or you can have somebody go with you so that you don't have to come in contact with him. They can just hand him the baby and the baby stuff, and that'll be all. All of this stuff can be worked out if all of us conduct ourselves like adults and do what's best for Mia.
Yes, but
Okay?
he's lying. But okay.
Okay. Ma'am, I don't know that he's lying.
His own
Okay.
family knows that he's lying.
Okay. I don't know that. And as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't given me any reason to think he's a liar. Okay. As far as the exchange is going to be, what is the name of the grocery store?
El Rio,
El Rio. And can you tell me the street name?
Lake June and Masters.
At Lake June and Masters.
Yes.
And as far as the retroactive child support judgment goes, I'll give him credit for $4,200. That leaves a $12,696 judgment.
$12,696, Judge?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Granados,
Yes, ma'am.
you are charged with keeping Mia safe while she is in your possession. You are also charged with letting Mia's mom know where she is. She should always be able to call you and contact you and speak to her child. She should always be reassured that her child is okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You suggested that the visits take place at your parents' house. So until she is 3, I expect the visits to take place at your parents' house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything further, Ms. Peoples?
Judge, so the payout on that retro, the state will request $114 a month.
That's fine, Ms. Peoples.
Okay. And nothing further from the state.
Okay. All right. If the non-disclosure is granted, and was that all? I'm trying to make sure I covered everything.
That was it, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. But I've said all of that to say this. If you do not agree with my ruling, you have 3 days to appeal and 30 days to file a motion for new trial. I am not the last word. Do you both understand?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay. Then if you don't have any questions, you are both free to go. And thank you for appearing here today.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How do I proceed with appealing?
The AG's office will let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And that wraps up this case. The judge has ordered the father to pay $528 in child support and $312 in cash medical support. Furthermore, the judge has granted the father standard visitation rights, allowing him to have his daughter every other weekend. However, the overnight visits must take place at his parents' house until the child turns 3 years old. What are your thoughts on this decision? Did the judge make the right call? Share your opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes of Family Court Drama.